Hello everyone and welcome to tonight's live stream. I hope that you are all doing well. Welcome in. Tonight we are going to be I laugh because of what is on the screen. We are going to be discussing Warcraft 3 Reforged. I've made a couple of videos on it at this point, but I just cannot get over the fact that Blizzard truly thought that this product was going to be good enough for anyone. It truly does baffle me. We are also going to be discussing Funimation. I did the other day discuss a situation with Funimation, but we are going to be discussing a situation with Funimation where they had promised an uncut release of an anime, and even the box of it says it's going to be uncut the first time it's uncut. And they have delivered us the censored version instead. We are also going to be discussing Birds of Prey. I have not really talked about Birds of Prey, surely because it looks like it's going to be awful. Don't get me wrong, I love my DC movies, I love Harley Quinn, I love the characters that are in it, but I think that their vision for it truly is awful, and it really does just look bad. But we're going to be discussing the costumes. One thing that I've kind of nitpicked at for a while, since we really heard about the costumes, is how awful they look and how I feel like they look kind of the opposite of what the characters usually dress in and how they usually look like. So we're going to discuss that. And I also wanted to talk about Star Trek. There are some leaks for Star Trek talking about apparently 2 new shows, and some details about Picard Season 2. I have watched the 2 episodes of Picard so far. I mean, I don't mind it. I think that it's like a solid 6 out of 10. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. I definitely have some problems with it, which I've discussed, but that is what we are going to be talking about tonight. I hope that you guys are doing well. Before we get into the articles and the discussions, I will chat with you guys for a moment. This will be the last thing I watch before I go to sleep. Have to wake up around 4:30 in the morning for work. That sounds absolutely awful. I am sorry to hear that. Also, can we just talk about the ad that's on the webpage that we're going to talk about? So it's a PC Gamer webpage, and I do not have ad block on. So there's, to the right, Battle for Azeroth, Visions of N'Zoth. But it says T for teen. And I'm just looking at it, and it says, like, suggestive themes, use of alcohol, violence. They're so worried about rating them with, like, every little tagline that they can. They've gotten really nitpicky. I mean, use of alcohol, seriously, crude humor. It sounds like they just tried to give it a T for teen, but it really should be an M. Anyway. Playing The Witcher 3 while I listen in, very nice. The Witcher 3 is a great game. I personally really love all of the Witcher games. Even 1, I know that 1 was not as obviously as big as something like The Witcher 2 or The Witcher 3, but I really liked 1. I had played some of it on the channel. It's a series that I'm considering going back to. I probably won't live stream it, though I've been considering going back and maybe playing the Witcher games again. Also, we have a Warcraft 3 Reforged ad on our screen. Guys, purchase now. Let's buy it. I'm gonna go and buy Warcraft 3. Everyone chip in 50 cents because that's what the game is worth. They're really stretching definition to push that teen rating. They are. Who's my favorite legless lady? Hello, Vara. How are you doing? I hope that your night is going well. I remember seeing Yusuf Tobacco on the ratings for a few of the Yakuza games. I don't know, I feel like the past couple of years, the ratings, the descriptions have gotten really odd. I feel like you used to not see as much, like, crude humor, or, like, I just feel like they're adding on more kind of descriptions to the taglines next to the ratings that I feel like I used to not see, like, crude humor. What games truly have crude humor next to the T for teen? I feel like that's just, they're trying to kind of stretch, and put as many things there as they can. It's a little odd to me. Hi Dark Titan, how are you? I am doing good. How are you doing? Just found your channel and watched a few videos. First time checking out your live stream. Really liking everything. I am glad that you really enjoyed the channel. Thank you for subscribing and thank you for supporting. I really do appreciate it. Without all of your support, I would not be making the consistent content that I do. Vara, I got some news for you. I was given a soft yes on the spot. I'll have more details today. I am going to hold out hope just in case, but I really hope that it happens as Farah. If you guys do not know, really quick before we get into the discussions, Asfara is actually my local game store owner, and he has to move his store. He has to move his store within 30 days, which is unfortunate. We did talk about it on the last Titans table, but he is my local game store owner. Yes. Take it out of my $1 a month on Patreon, which people should support. Hey, Drew shilling for my Patreon, guys. If you want to become a Dark Titan, I have tiers for just $1 a month. Thank you. All right. Let us, I remember when Brawl came out, it was rated T because of 2 issues, but would have been E10 and up if it only had 1. Yeah, everyone wants that lower rating now. Unfortunately, no one's content with having an M for mature game. They always want T for teen, and it's understandable why they want a lower rating. Of course, they can market it to more audiences, but still, not everything has to be child friendly for it to sell. I didn't know this was Comedy Hour. Buy Warcraft 3 refunded. Yeah, guys, please send me your 50 cents, and I'll buy the game. We'll get enough we'll get enough at 50 cents each, because that's all it's worth. Yeah, I'm a comedian tonight. Let's buy Warcraft 3. Alright guys, we're going to get into the discussions finally. The first topic that I wanted to discuss was Warcraft 3. I've made a couple of videos on the topic now. I discussed its initial launch and when it was at around a 1.5 rating. And people were very dishappy with it. That was the first day of launch. And then after that, 2 days after that, I discussed the fact that on the Blizzard forums, they were censoring people. They were removing threads and locking threads. Anyone that was discussing how to refund the game. And they were also banning people temporarily for 7-day bans for telling people how to refund the game and just trying to help people in general. And actually, today I discussed Warcraft 3 Reforged and just how awful their statement was. So Blizzard's developer team did make a statement. It's not an apology, it's a statement on the fact that they kind of blamed consumers for having high expectations for the game. So if you have not seen that video, please go and check it out. But I wanted to give a little bit of attention onto the Metacritic score and how awful it truly is, because I think it's funny in a sense. It's funny because they truly thought that people would be okay with this. I do have an article that I can read, but showing just the Metacritic page and the user score. It is currently sitting at a 0.5. Overwhelming dislike based on 25,000 reviews. When I did my video earlier, it was at 23,000, almost 24,000. People are very, very unhappy with this damn game. So Warcraft 3 Reforged has the lowest user score for a game on Metacritic. Now, I thought that this game would be low. I thought the user score would be maybe a 1, maybe a 1.2. No. It's blown me out of the water. It's currently sitting at a 0.5. Warcraft 3 Reforged has the lowest user score of any game on Metacritic, currently sitting at a 0.5. While the past record was previously held by Day 1 Gary's Incident, a number of drive-by 10 out of 10s have pushed it up into second place. So people did artificially boost Day 1 Gary's Incident. They did boost it to kind of prove that consumers do speak with their wallets and that people should be allowed to kind of have their opinion, and if they want to rate a game, they can rate a game. And yes, it is maybe not so great that people did artificially boost another game, but I think it's the bigger picture here that we have to look at. People went out of their way to tell Blizzard that they were so disappointed with this product that they decided to go to another game, boost it, and then give Warcraft 3 Reforged a very low rating. And I think that speaks a lot to... It should speak a lot to Blizzard. A big problem here is the fact that Blizzard released this game thinking that it would be acceptable, like the state of the game would be acceptable. Now, I understand that Blizzard has to release games in a certain time frame. This was obviously their quarter 1 release, and they do have to meet that, but I truly do think that they would have benefited so much more if they decided to say, you know what, it's just not done. And people would have been disappointed. I think all of you in chat would understand. People would be disappointed if they held this game back, if maybe it came out in 6 months. But I think to most people, they would rather them hold it back and release it in a much better state and release it in a state that was even playable. According to a user, Warcraft 3 Reforged is the worst remaster in the history of remasters. I do believe that because, if you all do not know, I mentioned it in today's video, that they merged the base game. They merged Warcraft 3 from many years ago and Warcraft 3 Reforged into one. So you have to go, I believe, into the menu options of 3 to play 1. And they literally broke the game from 17, almost 18 years ago with this remaster. Meanwhile, another user says, Blizzard disabled my old Warcraft 3 version and trying to force me to download additional 30 gigabytes. My game was only 2 gigabytes. Also, I heard you no longer have the option to play maps that had custom models. That is true. As well as complaints about being forced to update existing copies of Warcraft 3 to a new version, changes to custom maps, various bugs, and the updated EULA. A large number of players are surprised that the cutscenes have not been updated as dramatically as the intro was, something Blizzard did mention, but only if you were paying attention to interviews they were giving at the time, by which I mean waiting until 5 minutes into this, and it is a link. Some people aren't fused by the new menus, and others expected more new dialogue, but Blizzard scrapped plans to rewrite the story after fans who wanted all the original voices left in complained. And we will look at a couple of the Metacritic scores, why not? The user scores, 0.5, that is terrible. 25,314 reviews currently. Why don't we read a couple of them? Why don't we read a couple of them? Let's read the positive ones. There's 377 positive ones. Well, let me click it. Okay. Why don't we read the positives? We'll give it the benefit of the doubt. Maybe this is all just outrage culture, even though it's not. This is amazing. Game nostalgia, very cool. No idea what kind of systems those negative reviewers are using. Total nonsense. The game is polished and works wonderfully. Awesome graphics and smooth action. Very nostalgic blast from the past. Thank you for providing this wonderful experience, Blizzard. You can tell right from the beginning what the problem is with these reviewers. They are saying it's nostalgia. And when you are nostalgic for something, you're going to enjoy it. Even if it's absolutely awful, absolutely trash, nostalgia will always get you. Last week I did an interview with Tommy Tallarico of Intellivision, and I think I did mention it during the interview, but I think even with the Intellivision Amico system, I think that a huge selling point is the nostalgia. He's, recreating a lot of these nostalgic games, and I think that is going to be a huge selling point for the console. And that's a huge selling point for this game as well. Unfortunately, the people that are not happy with it, giving it negative reviews, a lot of those people do have nostalgia, but the problem is Blizzard. Blizzard has been so awful as of recently that everyone is going in with a fine-tooth comb when it comes to Blizzard products. And I'm not saying that's wrong. They deserve scrutiny. They do not deserve your money for this product. If you purchased it and you like it, that's awesome. I want people to enjoy games. But maybe if Blizzard truly cared about what consumers wanted and just held it back for a few months and fine polished it, there wouldn't be 24,112 negative reviews compared to 964 positive reviews. Let's go to a couple of the negatives. I I can't believe that Blizzard released the product in this state. That's my problem, is I don't have a lot of high expectations when it comes to Blizzard anymore, but I truly do want them to not ruin good franchises. I love a lot of games that Blizzard has created and put out, and I don't want them to fail, because that in turn means these amazing games are failures. And I don't want that. Very disappointed with the final product. No new UI, no new cutscenes, just the old ones rescaled, and lots of old features missing. Game does not even come close to what they promised at BlizzCon 2018. It's true. They marketed this game in a way that made you feel like they were going from the ground up. And I understand that this is a remaster. What do they even want to call it besides reforged? But it's still the fact that they promised a lot of content, and that content just truly is not there. My disappointment is so massive, I made a Metacritic account just to review this. This must border on criminal with what they've sold to us compared to what was promised. Their silence on it is deafening. Get your refunds whilst you can, because this is another Blizzard blank. So sad this was not as promised. And not only did it fail to live up to the expectations, it ruined the original game. So unlike the Blizzard I grew up with. Why did they do it? It's so bad that I'm crying. I think that we all understand at this point that Warcraft 3 is awful. It's been out for not even a week now, and people are very disappointed with it. But currently it has the lowest user score for a game on Metacritic. Do I think that this is the worst game ever created? No, probably not. There's probably other games that deserve to have a lower user score, but it's just the power of the consumers and the power of the players. GameStop, don't copyright strike me down, that shows truly that people just want a good game experience. That's all that I really want to discuss with Warcraft 3. I think that I've talked about it in a couple of videos now and during the live stream. If there are any updates, I will, of course, let you guys know, but currently it's the lowest user score for a game on Metacritic. Blizzard has put out a very lackluster statement. It wasn't even an apology on the situation. I don't expect it to go any better. I don't expect the user score to go up. I do not expect Blizzard to make another statement. I just think that it's kind of dead in the water. And I think that if you purchase the game and you like it, that's amazing. That's good. But if you don't like it, you should try to get your refunds while you can, because at first they were not allowing people to get refunds, and then they decided to change their mind because they knew that's very anti-consumer and people would not be very happy if that was the situation, and if they did not refund people. Unfortunately, they just try to get everything that they can out of consumers, and that's a big problem. What's the name of Mark Kern's new MMO? It's Ember. I will put it in the chat because it's spelled differently. It's EM-8 capital ER. I believe it's pronounced Ember. I've watched a couple of live streams. It's got a lot of potential. I did talk about it in Discord a little bit, but I will be doing an interview with Mark Kern going into the future. I'm not sure when, but that is something to look forward to, for sure. And I'm still wondering who approved that statement. I'm not sure who approved that statement. Maybe they just had their lawyers write up a generic statement and that's what they came up with. Alright, so just a couple of days ago, I discussed Funimation. Funimation has been a company that treats their consumers poorly, that their employees treat people poorly, and I'm not surprised when there is more bad news surrounding Funimation. Now, Funimation has promised an uncut release of an anime, but they have put out and delivered a censored version instead. Fans have discovered that Funimation's recent release of Sugimomo, I believe that's how you say it, on Blu-ray presents viewers with a censored version of the series, despite the promise made on the back of the box that the release would be uncut, in a surprising repeat of the exact same depiction seen with the series' 2018 Blu-ray release. On January 28th, Funimation released the complete series, Essentials, a Blu-ray release which proclaims on the back of its packaging that fans of the Supernatural Harem series will be able to watch the whole series completely uncut. This is the back of the box. This is legitimately the marketing. We saw Blizzard falsely advertising for Warcraft 3, and now we're seeing this. Funimation promising something that's not true. That's the back of the box. Watch the whole series completely uncut. Well, it does not sound like it is completely uncut, Funimation. I'm not going to show the uncut images, obviously. If you do want to look them up, they are very easy to find online. But the same censored release you cranked out 2 years ago... Oh, I missed a spot. Someone had tweeted, "Too bad it isn't completely uncut like the packaging claims." And it is, in fact, the same censored release you cranked out 2 years ago. And then they, of course, show this censored footage and the footage that was changed. The same censored release you cranked out 2 years ago refers to Funimation's 2018 original release of it, which similarly promised viewers that the release would be uncut, only for Funimation to censor various shots of nude breasts from characters. There are the censored versions. You can see the uncensored photos here. They're pretty easy to look up. Funimation would eventually release a statement stating that the instances of censorship in the 2018 release were present because a combination of uncensored and TV broadcast materials were used to compile the series for the Blu-ray. So I'm just saying, if Funimation is not comfortable with releasing an uncensored version of this product, of this anime, that's perfectly fine. That's fine. I am okay with them not releasing that content if they truly don't want to. But, well, I say I'm okay with it because the original content that they put online was censored, unfortunately. You can find it uncensored online. But I really have a problem with them marketing it in the sense that they're saying it's going to be completely uncut, as the box says, and that is very far from the truth. It is just the 2018 censored release repackaged for a new 2020 release, and that is the problem. They literally just wanted to resell it, so they figured, let's change up the packaging, let's say we're doing something different with the release, and this is the release that consumers get. The same release as the 2018 version. Funimation is a company that unfortunately does a lot of things like this. They lie a lot, they say one thing and do a completely other thing, and it's unfortunate because I do truly feel that Funimation fills in a very large gap in the market if you are interested in watching and streaming anime. They do have a large selection of different shows, and they do also have content that is borderline very adult content. They have so many things that I do feel do add to the industry, and it does add to my personal library. I used to pay for Funimation, but the past, I feel, 2 years, Funimation's really gone downhill. Now, don't get me wrong, Funimation has definitely had their problems in the past, but I really wanted to bring this up because I know a lot of people do truly like to collect Blu-rays of their favorite series. But if you wanted to purchase this, I would recommend not purchasing it because it's just a repackage of the 2018 version. I just wanted to mainly call out Funimation's bullshit yet again. I don't talk a lot about a lot of anime on the channel, but I realize that at the heart of it, a lot of it's Funimation. Funimation does a lot of shady and awful things, unfortunately. Yikes. I've been slowly but surely kind of skimming through everything they've done, and there's a lot. There's a lot of shady shit that they've done. Slam those likes. P.S. Who is the top dominator tonight? We have had no donations tonight, so currently no one. I'm still waiting on Goblin Slayer Season 2. Hey Vara, what's up? Nothing much. I hope that your night is going well. I'm afraid that Funimation has been losing far more credit by the moment. Yeah, they really have. They really have. And that's where I feel very torn. Because if you want to watch this content, one of the only legal ways to do so is by supporting, streaming services like Funimation. And when they do shady stuff like this and really kind of go anti-consumer, it's hard to back them up because you don't want to. Because they censor things and they, remove things off their platform that they say aren't part of their standards and don't meet their standards. Just like the other day I discussed another case with Funimation. But they do fill in a big gap. So obviously, if you support Funimation, I would not tell you to not support them. If you support them, that is your prerogative. You go for it. But I think it's also important that they get called out when they do things like this. They falsely advertise, and even Blizzard falsely advertising for Warcraft 3 Reforged is very important to bring light to. Goblin Slayer movie is before Season 2, is it? With the Vic thing in this, oh yeah, they've been doing quite a lot. I have not talked about the Vic case really on my channel, but I've followed it. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, Grim makes a good point. Funimation has more dubs than anyone else. Doesn't mean the dubs are any good, but they still are there. Right, that's the point, is they're still there and they're still being provided to people that want them. Crunchyroll doesn't offer the same amount of dubs. Crunchyroll does good, but you're right. I mean, Funimation is like, I don't know, 3 times bigger than Crunchyroll, at least 2 times bigger. I mean, their selection is so much bigger. But yeah, I was told a while ago to watch Crunchyroll for the sub and Funimation for the dub. Yes, that is correct. That is a good way to look at it. I've always been one for subs, so luckily I didn't have much interest in them anyway. I'm someone that can go either way. I personally prefer dub, honestly. But I go either way. Those are my anime preferences. Funimation will not go out of business, no. Funimation is too big to just go out of business. But I think that with every move that they make like this, that's shady, it disappoints people. And they do lose business. And I do think, with the whole Vic case and doing things like this, they lose money, but I don't think they're going to go out of business. Yeah, Funimation is owned by Sony. They're not going to go out of business. But I do think they are maybe losing some sales and losing some interest by people. Sub greater than dub unless it's top tier dub. Yeah, fair enough. I would prefer to watch a sub over a bad dub, but I do prefer dubs over subs. Jeez. I don't want to be confusing. Too big to go out of business. Tell that to Blockbuster. Blockbuster wasn't owned by Sony. If I want to read movies, I'd buy a book. That's a good point. Only weebs prefer subs? Oh, wow. Taking shots. Jeez. Alright, that's all I really want to discuss with Funimation. Going into the future, every time they do something shady, I will discuss it. I really think that they've gotten away with a lot. I've looked into a lot of topics, and not a lot of people really discuss it. There are some people on YouTube, don't get me wrong, but I really would like to get into maybe calling out Funimation a little bit more. They are pretty bad. They're pretty bad. Speaking of Sony, there really hasn't been a lot of Sony news lately. Sony has really been flying under the radar. I think a big thing with Sony is that right now they're kind of hiding all of the PlayStation 5 news because they know it's not going to be as strong as the Xbox. So they're just trying to beat around the bush. They're trying to just beat around any press. So we really haven't heard a lot about Sony. I haven't heard a lot of cases of censorship by them recently, but my ears are always open and my eyes are always open for looking into cases like that. I guess we'll have to see. I suppose we'll have to see. Whew. Considering that not many people talk about such, it's a good thing you're talking about such thing. Well, thank you. I do my best to talk about things that I find are important and that a lot of you find important. Things that I do truly believe deserve more attention. Also, can this banner literally go away? Thank you. Thank you, that took forever. All right, on to the next topic. We are going to be discussing Birds of Prey. I have not talked about Birds of Prey that much, personally, because I continue to see, ads and trailers and hear the story, and I just don't care. I am obviously a female, and I love seeing female representation. Let me get this out of the way so I'm not toxically masculine, and I'm not a bigot, and I'm not I don't know, whatever we can come up with. I love seeing females in lead roles. The idea of a movie with mainly females is appealing to me. I would like to see that. But I would like to see it done with a good story, good characters, and characters that actually look like they didn't just stop at like, I'm Forever 21 and went to the clearance section. I want to see strong female characters that look good. Truly, I would like to see a movie with all females and them be sexy and them be appealing, but that's not possible in 2020. But I really wanted to discuss their costumes. Birds of Prey costume designer responds to viral tweet saying the film removed any sex appeal of characters. At the end of January, a tweet about Warner Brothers' upcoming Birds of Prey movie started to pick up steam after a user suggested the female-centric movie would flop. You know why Birds of Prey is going to bomb just like Charlie Angels did? They've removed any sex appeal that these characters had to appeal to a female girl power audience instead of the core male comic book audience. They literally don't know who they're making this movie for. Oh, I just read it. It went twice. And then a response was, I remember when Joker bombed at the box office because Phoenix didn't wear any booty shorts. I like this comment a lot. Sarcasm. Actually, what they're doing is making women more like women. Imagine a movie made by women, with women as the main characters, having accurate representations of women. They know who they're making this movie for. Men that actually know what real women look like. I'm gonna be honest, I don't see many women walking around in bright pink sports bras and gold metallic pants. I personally think that Harley Quinn, how she looked in Suicide Squad, we're gonna look at it to prove my point. I think that this looks much more realistic. You guys can't even see Harley Quinn. I think that looks much more realistic. Yes, maybe women don't wear booty shorts in public like that. Maybe not. But I think that looks much more realistic, and I personally really prefer that design. And I'm going to be honest, this Harley Quinn design from Suicide Squad, I didn't think was really good. I'll be honest. I thought it was mediocre. I was not the biggest fan of it, but I liked kind of the vibe that she had. I felt like, even though it was maybe not the best movie, she still looked good and looked like Harley Quinn. But this looks just so tacky to me, and that's the problem. They do not look like superheroes or villains or vigilantes. You know what they look like? They just look cheap. And that's my problem. I think that when we watch superhero movies, the budget is always very high. So they always look so good. I mean, look at all of the Batman movies. Look at those bat suits. They are perfect. Look at Superman. His outfit, Henry Cavill's Superman, his outfit looked amazing. And to me, watching a movie about superheroes and villains, I want to see that. But a big part of Harley Quinn to me is her sex appeal. I think that Harley has the sex appeal going for her. I think that Harley has always been depicted in a very sexy way, and she's always looked good. And I think that Margot Robbie, the woman that plays Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad and in Birds of Prey, is a very attractive woman. I think that she played Harley very well in the past movie, and I think that if we were going to cast a Harley, she is Harley Quinn. But I just think that the writing is just not doing her justice. Yes, the core the core audience of comic books and these movies are men. They don't necessarily have to have sex appeal to sell them, but even as a female, I like to see women that look sexy in my movies. I think that it adds to the effect, and especially characters like Harley Quinn and Huntress. I imagine them in their sexy outfits, and I imagine them to be attractive. I mean, the problem is they're downgrading these females. They're saying that you don't need sex appeal, but they're downgrading the way that they look. They look like shit. They look like shit. These women, all of these women that they picked for these lead roles are pretty attractive. They're pretty attractive. And they just downgraded them and made them look like cheap budget. I don't even want to call them villains. They're not even good enough to be villains. Insider asked Birds of Prey costume designer Erin Banich, I think that's how you say her name, if she had seen the tweet and her response to it. I think by nature of hiring me, it sort of just implied that what I was going to create was going to be something with great design and iconic looks and a homage to the characters that so many people know and adore and loved. I designed for the characters. I designed the way I would design, the way I would love to portray women. Well, you portray women like shit. You portray women like women can't be sexy. Oh man, I love this. It was just sort of implied that I was going to create, what I was going to create was going to be something with great design. So she specifically is admitting to the fact that she went into this with poor design because she wanted to be different. She's saying it implied that I would design something great, and she's like, nah, I don't design anything great. I have to be hipster. I have to be out there. I have to be unique. So now I'm going to create characters that look awful, like they literally just stopped down at Gotham Dollar Store and decided to buy some dollar clothes. They look awful. They look awful. This is not attractive. This is not sexy. This is not going to appeal to me. I'm a female and I don't even want to see this movie. And costumes aside, the plot does not sound very good. The characters just, they sound like they were written in a very different way. This is me sheerly just, hating on the costumes because I think that they look bad. I'm not saying that the movie is going to be awful. I have not seen it. I'm not going to prematurely judge it. But these costumes don't look realistic. These costumes look just as unrealistic as their past costumes. This costume looks as unrealistic as something that, like, Bruce Wayne would wear. At least in my opinion, am I wrong? I'm sorry, but sex appeal sells. And I know that it's 2020, we don't want to objectify women, and I think that's cool. Don't get me wrong. But sex appeal sells. I'm a woman that wants to go to the movie theater and see attractive women. I want to go to the movie theater and see attractive men. I don't want to see these cheap knockoffs of my favorite characters. If you're not going to do the character justice, then don't use the character at all. Write a different character yourself. I wanted men and women to look at them and think they were beautiful and cool and awesome and sexy and strong. I don't think these characters look beautiful. I don't think that they look cool. I don't think that they look awesome. I don't think that they look sexy. And I don't think that they look strong. In the film's production notes, she said that she wasn't interested in creating a bunch of purely sexy looks, but designs these women could feel great in. She wants to create an outfit that a woman could feel strong and good in. Okay, alright. She wants to make that. If anyone ever put me in an outfit even close to what Harley or Huntress is wearing, I would take it off. I think, like, Black Widow in normal jeans, a t-shirt, like high-heeled boots and gloves looks way sexier than any of these characters, and I would feel much more confident wearing something like that compared to these designs. They're so bad. I'm sorry. I'm kind of rambling here about how bad they are because I truly think that these designs are awful. I have a problem when these designers come into the mix and say they want to make these female characters strong and independent and make them look like they're owning themselves, like they're so into themselves. And I think that a woman needs to feel attractive to feel strong. And I don't think any woman would ever look at that outfit and be like, wow, I would love to wear that. I could imagine myself in that. It looks cheap, it looks tacky, and the whole movie looks cheap and tacky. It does not look like a high quality superhero villain film. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Frank, exactly. Being sexy and feeling sexy is a sign of being strong and independent. I think that a woman that feels sexy feels much more confident in herself compared to a woman that's wearing something like this. How could Harley be feeling independent? And that's kind of a thing, is that she, from what we've seen, she's like trying to feel independent. And the problem is they're trying to push her character's narrative that like she's feeling strong and independent after Joker, like see you later. But I just don't think that this is working. I just don't think that is going to make any woman feel strong or sexy. And it's not Margot Robbie's fault. This is the character, the costume designer's fault, because I think Margot Robbie is a great actress. She has been in so many movies, and she's astounded me. She is a really good actress, honestly. And I think that in Suicide Squad, she was a pretty good Harley. But imagine if they made her a genuine Harley. They didn't try to go with these cheap gimmicks with like Harley and the Joker. Imagine if she was like this imagine her dressed in like something Dr. Quinn would wear. Like her before the Joker. Imagine Margot Robbie in like some sexy suit in Gotham meeting like Phoenix's Joker from Joker, the rated R movie. Imagine, oh my gosh. That would be amazing. Why can't we do that? Why do they have to look like a 15-year-old that doesn't understand what being cool and hip with the kids is? Thank you for coming to my TED Talk again. I want Harley, Suicide Squad, and a Jared Leto movie. I didn't like Jared Leto as a Joker, honestly. I wasn't feeling it. Maybe if I saw him on the big screen again, I got more background, maybe I would like it more. I just did not like him very much. But I think she really has a lot of potential in the role, and they're just forcing her kind of down the drain. I'm hip with the kids. Are you? Are you really? Birds of Prey will be a great movie. I don't think so. Even with Mickey Mouse boots, I think even with Mickey Mouse boots, she's still a better Harley than Jared Leto is the Joker. The 2019 version of the Joker, without a single doubt, one of the best films I've ever watched from beginning to end. It was a very good movie. Joker with, Joaquin Phoenix was an amazing movie. And I just think of the potential in a movie with like Margot Robbie as Harley, but not like this crazy Harley. Like before she became Harley Quinn, when she was Harleen. Like her and like these, I have this vision in my head, and it's so sad to know that we'll never get that vision. I thought the whole point of these movies was to sell action figures. This ain't gonna work. Do they even make they don't even make action figures for like these type of movies, because they know they're not gonna sell. Yeah, they make like action figures for like Superman versus Batman. Maybe they'll sell her mallet as like a kid's toy. But who is this movie going to appeal to? It's not appealing to me. It's not appealing to, I'm sure, most of you in chat. Please put an X in chat if this movie does not appeal to you. Put an X in chat if you don't like the idea of this movie. If you think it's going to be bad, or if you're just not going to see it. I'm curious. Before we move on to the last topic of the night, I would truly like to know. Heath Ledger is better than Leto, and Leto's better than Phoenix. I think Phoenix and Heath Ledger are very close, honestly. I think they're very close. See? Thank you for the X's in chat. I very much so appreciate you guys. Even you lurkers responding to me. I appreciate it. Superhero stuff doesn't appeal to me in general. Hey, fair enough. Fair enough. I think to a lot of people it appeals to them. I mean, to me, I love these movies. But Birds of Prey, this is the problem. They tried to remove any sex appeal and they just removed anything that could be seen as attractive in the movie, unfortunately. Thank you for responding, you guys. I do very much so appreciate all of your X's in chat. Moving on to the last topic of the night is Star Trek. I have been talking about Star Trek quite a lot lately. We have talked about Picard. I've been talking about some leaks, some spoilers, and I'm excited to talk a little bit more about Star Trek. Now, before we get into the last topic of the night, here come my self-shill. I give myself 20 seconds. If you enjoy the content I create, please make sure to leave a like on the live stream. Please make sure to watch my videos. I put up a video today discussing Warcraft 3 Reforged and Blizzard and their awful statement. If you like the content, please consider subscribing to the channel, but also consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon. You can become a Dark Titan for just $1 a month. Okay, I think I did it. The last topic of the night is from Bounding Into Comics, and it discusses Star Trek. New alleged Star Trek leaks reveal 2 new shows, provide details about Picard Season 2, and new info on Section 31. Before we get into the topic, I've said it, but just so you guys know, these are all rumors. None of these are facts. Please take everything with a grain of salt, and let us get into Picard. Another series of alleged leaks about the Star Trek franchise revealed a bevy of information, including 2 new shows, details about Star Trek Picard Season 2, and some information about the Section 31 show. Now, I personally wish that they would just stop. I hate to say this, because I love Star Trek. I want them to do great things with this series. But Picard isn't doing too well right now. We are only 2 episodes in, so it could change. But the reception has not been amazing. And Discovery, well, we know how Discovery is. I just don't want them to botch this universe anymore. I don't want them to botch Star Trek anymore. So, the leak was originally shared to 4chan, a little bit skeptical, and then shared to Twitter. First up is the news about a much talked about Discovery spin-off series centered around Anson Mount's Captain Pike. I would love to see a Captain Pike show, honestly, but I don't want them to go there because I don't want them to ruin it. According to the rumor, a show about Captain Pike will be announced this year at Comic-Con. There wasn't really many details other than it will be a serialized show like Discovery and Picard and Sea Pike, saving the universe from a different threat each season, and number 1 will get a lot more focus than before. I think that sounds interesting. There's not really a lot of information on it, but I would like to see a Captain Pike show. I think that'd be cool if they could do it right. The second show that will also be announced at San Diego Comic-Con, according to this rumor, will be titled Starfleet Academy. We've actually heard about Starfleet Academy twice now, so I thought that was interesting. Like 2 months ago or something, there was a rumor about Starfleet Academy, and we're hearing a little bit more about it. Makes it a little bit more believable. The leak states Starfleet Academy is a drama about students aimed for late teens, young adults, and wine moms who want to still look like quirky nerds. That's a problem. It's gonna fail. If you're going to market a show late teens, young adults, and wine moms. I don't think it's going to do good, because the problem is that a fan like me, or maybe a fan like you in chat, won't want to watch that. We don't want to watch teen dramas, and yes, I do think that some teen drama shows have a little bit of interest. They have a little bit of intrigue. They're not all awful, but I don't think that anyone like us wants to watch something like Dawson's Creek with phasers. No thanks. I'm personally already, spoilers for Picard, a little bit skeptical on the romance that's going into Picard. I think it's a little bit cheesy right now. Not really a big fan of it, but I'm hopeful that it won't get any more cheesy. But now we have some more details on Section 31. Look at that outfit. That looks cool. Okay, that outfit looks pretty nice. I don't think it looks bad. Maybe not the best, but it's not bad. I could see women in that. I could see her feeling confident, feeling herself. Dawson's Trek? Yeah, sounds bad. Makes me cringe a little. Following the rumors that Section 31 is expected to film sometime this spring, the new rumor explains that the show will focus on Gorn, Orions, and capturing slaver weapons. Oh no, I can already see the outrage. We're using the word slave in our show. Oh no. Get the Twitter mobs on the phone. Get them on their iPhones. The word slaver? No, gotta censor that. We have to change that. Someone's gonna be outraged. These two races are interesting to say the least. That's because though they've been seen on screen in many Trek shows, from TOS to Deep Space Nine, there really hasn't been a lot of focus on their races. It could give this new crop of writers at CBS a lot of wiggle room to really expand and create some new canon without having to worry about 40 years of TV and cinema. So they don't have to worry about it. I do understand that with the 40 years, there's a lot of history that they have to follow, and there's a lot of, canon. But that's good. We want you to build on that 40 years of TV and cinema. We don't want you to just throw it out the window. We want you to appreciate it and to build on it. We want you to expand on it and give us those experiences that we don't feel like we get from other shows. You have to make your show different from Deep Space Nine. What's going to make me watch your show compared to Deep Space Nine? Let's raise the question. I don't think teen drama is going to do that. I don't think that showing all these amazing races is going to do that, because you're not expanding on what truly matters to a lot of us, and that's the characters and the history. If you're going to throw the history out of the show, I'm not going to want to watch it. This alleged leak also provides information on where CBS plans to take Star Trek Picard in Season 2. The Q Continuum Janeway, Q and Cisco are set to return. I'm not going to comment on it. You know what? My problem is that I don't want to get excited, and reading rumors like that kind of excites me. I hate to say it. Seeing stuff like that excites me, and I don't want to get my hopes up, because I don't think that it's truly going to happen. But I suppose we'll see. What's interesting about this alleged leak is that it states Avery Brooks is unconfirmed, but if he won't come back, they'll get someone else to play him. No! If someone won't come back to reprise their role, then you don't write in the damn role. Because if an actor really believed in the project, they would come back. If they believed that you were doing justice to the story and to these characters, they would come back. And to me, that's a sign that it won't work and that it won't do good. And I don't want that to be the case. I want these shows to thrive and these fandoms to thrive, but it just doesn't sound like it's going to happen. As reported by StarTrek.com, Brooks stepped away from the limelight after starring as Cisco in Deep Space Nine. He focused on raising his children and teaching at a university where he's a professor of theater. That's amazing. I think that's great for him. But if he truly believed in the role, he would come back. Finally, we have some interesting storyline rumors about Discovery. It seems that the focus of Season 4 will be on an old enemy, the Dominion. According to the leak, Discovery Season 4 is being drafted, focuses on the Dominion, who have come to the Alpha Quadrant by this point. the last standing empire in the galaxy. What do you make of these alleged leaks? Do you think they're valid? Would you want to see any of this? That's a good question for all of you in chat. Let's say some of these rumors are true. Would you want to see a show about Captain Pike? Would you want to maybe see some of these storylines with Picard Season 2? Do you want to see a Dawson's Creek teen romance wine mom show called Starfleet Academy? I'm curious for you guys. Why wouldn't the Borg have come back by the 29th century? We don't want to talk about the Borg. We want to erase, like they said, they want to erase anything that's existed in TV and cinema and just make their own show. They don't want to deal with any of that. They do not want to appreciate all of those years of lore and information because they don't want to look into it. They don't want to research it. They don't want to have to write around it. And I think if a writer came into this and actually truly wrote around the history that exists and made emphasis on it, I think that the show would be good. And I do think that Picard does that a little bit, obviously, but I don't think it takes it there. I think that, first of all, the first episode of Picard, I personally thought should have been a season. From the point where, you know, you're meeting Daj, Picard's having these like flashbacks and these memories, him meeting Daj, her dying, and the ending, spoilers, lots of spoilers, the cube. I think that should have been a season. If that itself was a season, I think that it could have been good. I think that it could have been decent, but they rushed it and put it in one episode, which is my problem. I think that Picard feels way too rushed for any of it to be meaningful. Unfortunately, that's just my opinion. I'm curious to know all of yours. I don't think I've ever heard about Star Trek until the late thousands, so I have minimal, if any, interest in this. Fair enough. I mean, Star Trek obviously has many years behind it. It has many years of lore and canon, and a lot of it, you know, you have the different time periods. You have, you know, Pike, and you have Kirk, and you have Picard. And then you have the side series. There's a lot to Star Trek. But I think that if you, or someone, not just you, but in general, if you can find the show that you like, the captain you like, the time period you like, you could really click with Star Trek. I think that's a big thing in Star Trek, is you truly have to enjoy the characters, because obviously the characters are the focal point of it. And if you can find your captain, in a sense, you can like it. Like, I really love Kirk. He's a man whore, but I love it. And I would rewatch anything with Kirk time and time again. And Picard, I like Picard. For me, it's not really about Picard. It's about other characters for me, like Data. I love Data. And Spot. Spot, Data's cat, is a force to be reckoned with. He is amazing. If we could have a Spot and Data series, that'd be great. Yeah, the different time periods do confuse new Trek fans, which is a problem. That's why I'm saying you can't jump a lot. You really want to establish like one series, like one show, and then you can watch the movies that go with it. Really establishing that, I feel, is important, because there's so much history. Star Wars as well has a lot of history. Let's look at Star Wars. Star Wars is much easier to understand, though, because all of the characters are through it. I mean, you have like the Clone Wars, the TV show, which fits in between movies. All of the shows fit in between movies. The Mandalorian comes before any of that. So I think Star Wars is kind of much easier to understand because you're hearing the names, you know, you're constantly hearing Solo and Skywalker and Darth Vader, and you're hearing all of those names constantly. So everything intertwines better. And for Star Trek, that does happen, but it's not as prominent as it is with Star Wars. Star Wars is much easier to understand, in my opinion. Star Trek is a bit more confusing. Star Trek makes a lot more sense. Star Wars is just kind of, if you imagine it, it can happen. I mean, look at the size of the Star Wars ships. Holy shit. Just look at the size of those suckers. Beam me up, Scotty. Give me season 2 to 7 TNG writing staff. I would consider a new Star Trek, but it stands now. I have no faith in, yeah, Hollywood. I understand that. It's unfortunate, because I do want Discovery to be good. I want Picard to be good. I mean, looking at Picard, this is probably the last series of Star Trek, or anything with Star Trek, that we're going to have Patrick Stewart in. You know, we have to appreciate what we can get, and it's just unfortunate that kind of the last Star Trek appearances that we will ever get out of him will be this. Star Trek Spot, that'd be amazing. I will take it. I will take it. Whew, that'd be amazing. But alright, you guys, that's all that I really had to discuss tonight. We discussed Warcraft 3 Reforged, Funimation, Birds of Prey in the awful costumes, and the new leaks. The alleged leaks for Star Trek shows. So I will do the Q&A now. I will sit with you guys and discuss with you in chat. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them now. Or any comments, please feel free to make them now. Let's talk about Spot. Spot is amazing. There were 3 different cats that played Spot, and there is a very dark theory on the internet that Data kept killing Spot, so it's just like an infinite amount of Spots. Like, you know how, like, kids get a goldfish and then they die and then the parents give them a new goldfish because it's a goldfish? There's a dark theory on the internet that Data kept doing that with Spot, and there were like 3 different Spots because he kept killing Spot. It's a really dark theory. It's a really dark theory. I mean, I could believe it, honestly. I hate to say it. I could believe it. That would be believable, in a sense. But, you know, maybe we don't want to imagine that. That's not the writing or anything. That's not what they did. They didn't kill a bunch of cats in the storyline. It's just the fact that they had like 3 different cats that they used, and they all look different. So that's kind of what brought it on. Doctor Who, Star Wars, Star Trek, The Terminator, all dead now. I just want writers to write something original. If you want to create a series that's full of propaganda and full of opinions, and that's fine. You know what? You do it. I will support you. But don't ruin franchises because you can't make up something original. That's a big problem. They don't have any original ideas. So they just keep ruining and co-opting everything that we know and love because they're too damn unoriginal to write something different. I mean, why don't we look at Seth MacFarlane and let's look at the Orville. It was meant to be kind of a parody of Star Trek, and that's really what it started out as. But it has differentiated itself in a way that makes it feel so unique that, yeah, it was made specifically to kind of make fun of Star Trek, but it's so original now that people love it. I'm going to ask you guys in chat, are you more excited for Picard Season 2, or are you more excited for the Orville's new season? Orville or Picard? Why don't you give me that? Or Orville versus Discovery? What are you more excited for? I'm curious. Because I'm pretty sure for any of you in chat that would watch those shows, I know your answer. I mean, it's not... See, yeah, thank you guys for your responses tonight. I'm asking you to give me responses in chat, and you guys are being so great about it. See? The Orville. I do not see one Discovery. I do not see one Picard. Okay, that's good too. That's good too. Expanse. Fair enough. That's a good alternative. You're like Henry Cavill, like during the interviews, like would you pick like Star Trek or Star Wars? And he's just like picks like the neutral territory in a sense. He always just has to go off and say something different. But Expanse is good too. I think that's good too. Grimm saying The Expanse as well. I haven't seen either, but from what I've heard, I'd have to go with the Orville, yeah. I mean, I think the Picard Season 1 has potential. I think that it's a solid 6 out of 10, which maybe is not the best, but it's not the worst. I mean, I think that the problem is you hear dialogue and you instantly know, like, the real world references that they're making, like, oh, that was a swipe at Trump, oh, that was a swipe at Brexit, and it dates it, and it just feels, it doesn't feel like Star Trek. Another small thing with Star Trek is the fact that in Picard they have characters swearing. Now, to me and you, swearing doesn't bother us, I don't think. We hear swearing in shows all the time, but it's the fact that you never heard swearing in Star Trek. You maybe heard, like, damn it, or hell, maybe. Like, you'd hear damn it, but you wouldn't hear, like all these, just these swears, like, like, in the second episode, one of the characters goes, how fucking dare you? And, like, it just feels forced, and that's the problem. I don't want a show that feels, like, forced and just dated. Picard will not age well at all. Right, Vara, you are 100% right. It won't age well, and that's what I want. I want a show to age well. It may not seem amazing now, but I could appreciate it, and know in 20 years I will come back and appreciate it. That's the thing. Seth knows how to make Star Trek so cherished, and show will has some amazing characters. Yeah, the show definitely does have some good characters. But as a critic, I would like to just see how bad they would make new seasons of Picard and Discovery. I don't want them to make... See, I think that it's funny to watch these shows and cringe at them, but I don't want Star Trek to be remembered as Discovery. I don't want someone to Google Star Trek and see Discovery and see Picard. I want them to see Captain James T. Kirk and, you know, Jean-Luc Picard in his prime. I want them to see these amazing characters and Data and even Spot and Riker. I want them to see these amazing characters and not see the bullshit. And not see kind of what Hollywood wants to push Star Trek as now. Greta loves Kirk. He saved the whales. Kirk is a whore. I'll say it. Kirk is a whore, and you know what? I love it. I would rather see a man whore all day long than woke trash. He's great. I love him. He's my favorite captain. I have to say it. I'm sorry. Look at TV shows that have aged well with yeah, I mean, there's so many good shows that have aged well. But shows like Discovery and Picard, they're not gonna age well. Hail Kirk for being a whore. Kirk is a man whore, and I love it. Every time I see an episode of him doing something, I'm like, yeah, that's my guy. That's him. He does it so well. I think that, William Shatner, he nailed it. And I think that, honestly, Patrick Stewart is a pretty good Picard. The thing is Roddenberry never wanted Patrick Stewart as Picard. He didn't like him as Picard. But I think that he does well. I really want to know what Roddenberry would want for him if it wasn't Stewart. The finale of MASH made me cry. Man-whore is better than an unstoppable Mary Sue. I agree. I like to see strong female characters, but I also like to see man-whores. Because Kirk is classy about it. He's classy, All of those women consented, let's be honest. There's no woman that Kirk ever kissed that didn't consent. Vara wants the hairy mermaids that are getting piercing bars now. I think MASH is fine, but then again, I was raised on older television stuff. Yeah, I was raised on kind of older television things as well. They all wanted it. Oh, RK. They wanted it. I mean, what woman wouldn't want to kiss Kirk? Let's be honest. Man whores rock. Alright, you guys, I am going to end the live stream in just a moment. Thank you all for stopping by the live stream tonight. I do very much so appreciate it. Make sure to check out today's video on Warcraft 3 Reforged, Blizzard's awful statement on it. If you guys do enjoy the content I create, please make sure to subscribe. Make sure to give the live stream a like. And of course, if you did not like it, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way. Also, consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon. You can become a Dark Titan for just $1 a month. You do get special access into our Discord. Of course, course, anyone can join the Discord, but you do get access into a special channel where we do chat. I will give you guys the Discord link in case you want to support that way. Also, make sure to follow me on Twitter. The link will be in the description of the live stream. But thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you so much, and have a fantastic night, everybody.